Well, I'm going to get this started early this morning. The title of the video for September the 5th is, What If Money Was No Longer an Issue? A wise man once wrote, Where there is no vision, the people perish. Reflecting on this, I asked myself, what if money was no longer an issue? What if we only took what we needed and chose to help those in need? What if the eyes of the so-called elite were opened and they decided to help co-create a world that could actually work for everyone, from the least to the greatest? Would that not make everyone greater? I sincerely think it would transform the world, turning the hell of limits into the heaven of possibilities. Would your thinking change if you never again had to worry about not having enough? I know I would. Indeed, this is an unusual video for me because I have been guilty of limitation thinking for far too much of my life, because that's the way the world seems to have programmed all of us, myself included. But as I laid awake this morning before even getting out of bed, I began to ponder some of the questions that I asked in the blurb. And perhaps what triggered this is the belief by some of my friends that we're about to undergo a transformation of how the wealth of the world is shared, distributed, used. And one of my friends asked me the question, what would I do if money was not an object? If I had whatever I needed, how would I distribute the money? If I could only use a small portion for myself, taking only what I actually needed to keep a roof over my head, to keep myself fed and healthy, and doing the things that brought joy to my life without living in excess like so many of the world's rich. They live in excess and to hell with everybody else. The attitude is, I've got mine. Too bad you don't have yours. And even worse, some of them want to kill those that are less fortunate. Instead of lifting them up, they want to eliminate them. And I've thought in terms of eliminating people that have that attitude. But really, I don't want to see anybody eliminated. I don't even want to see Lucifer eliminated. I want to see transformation. That's what I've lived for my whole life. To see a world brought into being that actually works for everyone involved. If we didn't have limitations, we would have a creative force that would be working in and through us that would literally provide whatever is needed to make us joyful, loving, happy, considerate, kind. We would work for one another and not just for ourselves. Because ultimately, working for one another is the greatest fulfillment of self. It's not the elimination, it's the fulfillment. It fills us up with that which is good and wholesome. There's so many spiritual people that think that the whole idea is to eradicate or eliminate or subjugate the self to something supposedly higher. But there is nothing higher than self-fulfillment. If we were all fulfilled, we would not only have what we need, but we would have the ability to help others with what they need. We would be providers rather than hoarders, sharing rather than holding on because of fear that what we have we might lose. What if that fear was no longer seen as reality? These are some of the wonderful thoughts that I've had going through my mind this morning. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that last night I was able to sleep well again. And I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I just have the sense that something big is on the cusp of occurring. I can't define it in detail. I don't know how, but I do have the sense that something beyond our wildest dreams and our greatest expectations, something is being prepared to bring into manifestation, to bring into fulfillment in our present world, in our individual and collective lives, or the collective life and our individual lives, I guess I should say it that way. Something that is a fulfillment of, and an answer to prayer. It was said by, I guess, Jesus, ask much that your joy be full. You have not because you ask not. Ask much that you might have your expectations wildly responded to. Seek and you shall find. What if we could find the heaven on earth and help create it together? What if we could find it within our hearts to bring that which is within us into manifestation in the world around us, transforming ourselves and our world, and thereby touching the lives of everyone else? What if this was the reality? You say, Ron, dream on, brother. It's not ever going to happen. Well, that's what we've been programmed to think. And the program has worked very well. It's a brainwashing program, a program of limitations. I'd like to suggest that maybe our Creator is choosing this time of awakening to show us the greater possibilities, to show us what might be if we simply looked at it from a different perspective. I'm being challenged, and I'm challenging you to think outside the box that we've been put into, and to consider a world with no limits, a world where everything is possible. We only have to put it into action. We only have to take that first small step, and all of a sudden, everything changes. I live with the hope that such a world is literally at the doorstep of humanity. I hope that this is the reason there are more of us on this planet now than have ever been on this planet at any one time before, as far as we know, as far back as there is history. And the reason for that is because we are the birthers. We are the ones that are going to be giving birth to the changes that are going to transform the world from a hell to a heaven. It can happen with a little bit of divine help and cooperation from you and from me and from all of us who are willing to open our hearts and consider that love is actually greater than fear, and are willing to work together to make our greatest dreams become reality. Thank you very much for listening again to an old man. God bless you, and namaste.